I see that English it's a good language because it's a easy language to learn, and it allows you to endless opportunities to get information, to get connections from all around the world, and you could have more time to learn another language aside the English. Like I don't know if you have the interest to learn a third language. You are interested to learn a language to study, not to talk, like Latin. That's what you said. Greek in the another language you said you show me a list, but I don't remember the exact languages you list.
Maybe you are talking about Danish because I like Kierkegaard or Kierkegaard philosophy, and I'm interested in Danish. But now I'm not studying Danish. But I like a range of language, not only one. But like you said, I have a list, a order, but the order can change the future like change in the past.
I just minimize my interest to learn another language because uh, about the content that I find in English, it's not about the language anymore. It's what I find in that language. It's like you just said about Kierkegaard to learn Danish, because you have this piece of content which you has a massive interest to see the original work. In the I see the same thing. And for me, I very interested about business technology right now. In the most of the content in these fields, in these different fields, is English. I don't need to use Russian to learn about IT. Of course, we have very good IT people in Russia, but I see that you the IT language is English. In the maybe in China you have a different, let's say, very well achieved, um, let's say, scenario in China as well in artificial intelligence. That could be a second language to learn. But for me, motivation to learn a language is what you want to get in that language, first of all, and not the language itself, but what a second motivator to learn the language, let's say.
That's a interesting way of see because I agree with that because English is a very comfortable language for almost any topic. You can manage a wide range of topics, and in many of them, you will find more knowledge and more content in English. Of course, there are some topics that is some language has more, or maybe in some aspect it's more enjoyable to learn the original text or the original content. But English, it's not a more popular language, but a very more popular language in the world of knowledge. Because if you consume some content, it's a huge difference. It's not a difference. It's very huge from other language. IT is an example. If you search for IT or programming in English, the amount of content in English is much more larger than any language. But there are other languages aside English, like you said, so and you can try others too. But I prioritize English like you because English is more easy and you can reach more people and more knowledge. It's a very obvious question. This can change the future, yes, like you change through history, but it's very difficult to think from our lives.
I see that maybe uh, this language models technology could, let's say, like I said before in this week about the how artificial intelligence could get resurgence of that language, let's say, because you could train that data in a way that maybe with many philologists or linguists could a person is not able to analyze or train about that data because uh, to learn as a human to learn a new language in a fair level maybe it will requires um, some years or let's say many years but to train the computer to learn that language it could I don't know how much time you could train a language model but it could understand language in a few weeks or in a few days by training that. The,
Yeah.
that's why you are able to have scientific discoveries like chemical, try to create medicine or something like that, or um,
Yeah.
understand that language or try to imagine how it sounds or how to get a pattern of that to have a let's say more standard version of Latin, how to speak Latin because you have many um, information about that. You know, a lot of different
Yeah.
information about how you could pronounce some word in Old Norse, for example.
Yeah.
I agree with you. The gap to an AI to achieve a mastery in a language is less than for people. People have to take a lot of effort and time to reach a decent level. And for AI, you could you can utilize a great amount of content in a few weeks or months. You can have a perfect level. In the early stage, I remember that ChatGPT don't speak Portuguese perfectly. They he committed some mistakes. I remember that are not often, but some phrase they sound weird and even wrong. But now it's very, very difficult to see an error or mistake in Portuguese or any popular language. And when you compare with the past, that's a huge step because Google Translate, when they release, they are very poor in Portuguese. And in some years later, it's yet poor in Portuguese. But now it's okay. But in AI, utilize some language models, the gap is it's very low. It's not too complicated to learn a new popular language. But when it comes to an unpopular language that you have few knowledge or few content, few text, few audios, few videos, they need more training, not only weeks, a month, maybe some years. I don't know. I talk about that language, not language that are very popular or that I speak today. But it's very interesting to see the AI using to translate knowledge that we can accelerate our research in some topics, not only in language, but in other subjects or fields.
Yeah, it's like the Rosetta Stone.
Mm.
You analyze this little set of data to be able to, uh, let's say, to understand a vast amount of Egyptian, ancient Egyptian language in the that's very interesting. If you have let's say a little sample of a language, you could recreate that language in a way like you try to apply the probability, the statistics to create something new with this data. Try to find a pattern and try to publish a book in nowadays about, for example, we have the Latin language. We don't had computer in, I don't know, in the original Latin, let's say, but you can predict how you say computer today. In the Icelandic as well, it's a very interesting case because they try to create new words to modern stuff like computer, car. They have a different word. They try to not use English words to like preserve the original language, the Icelandic original Icelandic, let's say. And you can use this technology to create like Hebrew, biblical Hebrew, um, the of course the modern Hebrew derives from that because it's a kind of artificial language which was created to be used in the Israel.
Ancient Greek.
Portuguese, if you try to read Portuguese from 15th century, you will have a lot of struggle because it's very difficult. But it's like other languages, the language involved and true patterns, one can understand. And there are a lot. There are other advantages of utilize this technology because this technology can translate easily and fast. Then, of course, you need to see if the translation is okay. You need a specialist to see it's totally correct, but you gain a lot of time because through an API, for example, you have the opportunity to translate a book utilizing ChatGPT or GPT-4o almost in few seconds or minutes. It's very easy through an API to translate a book, entire book, a whole book. But to translate the difficult language, of course, you take a lot of effort, but AI can do that for you, and you need to compare. You need to see if it's correct.